Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here. Happy Easter to those of you who celebrate. A happy April 12th to those of you who are looking at a calendar. And if you're new around here, please like and subscribe. Comment in this video below. We're going to talk about the personality types that are going to be most prevalent in the archetyping of this COVID virus. In other words, the things you might see from the people that are meaningful to you, or just people that you may run across online, offline, in the store, wherever. I know we're not supposed to go very far, but some of us have things we have to do and places we have to go. Also, if you're new here, please give me a follow on Twitter, @POPerception, and we're going to try and do something really cool here. We're going to try and jumpstart to get both of my channels, this channel and the Pro Wrestling Logic channel, to 1,000 subscribers. The reason I want to do that really quickly is because I want to be able to give back to those in need who are going through hard times. And I think I'm blessed to have a voice that affects people in some way. And so if I can give back, even if it's a couple dollars here and there on a monthly basis, it's better than nothing, right? We can all do a little bit. Anyway, so we're all going to know different types of people through this pandemic, and different personality types are going to be activated based on how people deal with trauma. Because regardless of how we look at this situation, it's traumatic for just about everybody on the planet, right? 7 billion people on the planet are all being told, stay in your house and don't come out. And not that everyone's affected by that, but it might as well be, right? Because even if you're not being told to stay in your house and don't come out, you know someone who is. And so it's affecting you in one way or another. And so there's just about 6 or 7 different types of things we're going to see in personalities. And I've called this over the past couple of months while we've been dealing with this, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, whatever it is, because I work with people all over the country, all over the world. And it's just things that I've witnessed. I've been studying personal development for 23 years, since I was 15 years old. Been doing it professionally since 2007. So we're looking at, a pretty deep immersion, if you will, into that. And here are some things I've noticed along the way, especially during this pandemic. I wish I'd been more charting of it during like H1N1 and the swine flu and the whatever the others were. But I'm more connected now to people's needs in that way than I was during those earlier pandemics or viruses anyway. And please forgive me if my voice goes out. It is allergy season here in the States, and so for the next couple of weeks, my voice is not going to play nicely with me. So the first type of person you're going to run across is the person who is going to drive you nuts because they are only concerned with one thing, and that is their need for connection, their need for validation. These folks are extremely bored. They're extremely high-strung. Think like a puppy who wants to chew on your shoe, and then you take the shoe away and it goes and chews on a corner of the rug. These are folks who just constantly need to know that someone's there for them, that they have something to do, something to focus on. You may see them try to exercise in their house a lot, and you may see them trying to research a lot of information online. They may talk really fast or more expediently than normal. They may give opinions on the news in kind of a rapid-fire stream of consciousness sort of thing. They're looking to feel connected with society around them, and so they're going to speak a lot about, here's what's going on, and what can we do if this, then this, and that, and just becomes really overwhelming. These people, all they need to know is that you're there for them when they need to talk, but they don't need to talk constantly to get your attention. It also may be good to actually give these people a task. This is especially going to be common for folks who are high-strung or have anxiety normally. You may see this especially in female children and teenagers who are dealing with social anxiety issues, body image issues. In other words, more so on the female side of the female millennial who hasn't found herself yet. It may be very much the type of person who you being witness with this. Now, that's not to say that other genders and qualifiers can't be there, but this is most likely going to be a more feminine than masculine trait. The next person we're going to see is the experiential person. So the experiential person is the person who's like, dude, let's do this. Let's learn this. Let's read a book together. Let's learn to cook while we're locked in. Let's play this video game from beginning to end. Let's do these things because we don't have anything else to do anyway. The experiential person is more likely to pick up a new task, skill. Maybe they're going to learn a musical instrument while they're on lockdown. Maybe they're going to learn a new language. Maybe they're going to learn what it takes to go back to school. They're very much in the planning stage, but they're also looking for things to do throughout the day that give them some sense of purpose for getting up. The experiential person generally has been a daredevil in earlier parts of life when the pandemic isn't running, and that energy needs an outlet, and so it's used through growth, personal growth, development, and learning. These also are people who might have been reserving themselves up until this point. So they may be what I call the closet extrovert, the person who always wanted to be extroverted, but they just never found a way to do it. Well, being locked up may make them go, you know what? Hey, fluff it. I'm going to go do this because you only live once. These are folks who are going to be profoundly changed by the impact of the epidemic, because after this, they're going to be much more moment-to-moment living, much more present moment-minded, and much less cautious. This can come out as extreme risk-taking. These may be the folks who are going to the beach anyway, right? We see in Florida and other areas of the country, there are people who are struggling to follow the curfews and the stay-home orders and all that. These are experiential people who are just like, give me something to do, right? Then what the next group of people I call the transitional emotional folks. These are the folks who are going to use either email or phone calls or Skype or the methods of technology available to them, and they're going to call and check on everybody, right? They're going to call and check on grandma to make sure she's eating her Ensure. They're going to call and check on grandpa to make sure he's not, going outside and using the weed whacker on the hedges because he's bored. They're going to make sure that, their parents are okay, their friends are okay. These are the folks that are going to encourage you to really talk through how you feel. And so these are folks who are usually, they're going to be traditionally caregivers. They're going to be first responders. They're going to be people who, for the most, maybe counselors, therapists, those type of folks who don't have the same outlet they once had to do their work. They're going to be the ones that are making sure that people's mental health is okay, that their physical health is okay, that they're taking care of themselves, that they're not going into excess. These are the folks that are going to be concerned about people that are dealing with addictions or are in recovery, that they could fall off again. These are really valuable people to have. If you have any people who are like this, the transcendental emotional people, these are the people you kind of send to your friends that you're worried about and say, hey, this person needs someone to talk to make sure they're okay, and we can kind of triage the emotional health, because that's the one thing that I'm noticing as I'm working with people. Mental health is at an all-time high rate of discord, and it has me, to be honest, it has me quite upset, because I'm seeing people that are normally strong and able to gut it out who are falling apart, and I don't think the health community, the traditional health community, is doing enough for folks who maybe don't have access to their medication, because there are pharmacies around the country that are holding spaces for C19 drugs and are not stocking normal medications. Maybe these people are afraid to leave their houses, especially if they deal with paranoia. There's a lot of different things, and I'm also finding that people that deal with severe depression, they're having difficulty doing daily living tasks. They're having difficulty finding a reason to get out of bed, and then if they do get out of bed, and if they get in front of the news, and I'll mention this tomorrow. For those that haven't followed the last couple of days' videos, as of right now, Pat Miletich, former UFC multi-time world's champion, is going to be on tomorrow's audio cast, and he's going to talk a lot about, is there something more behind the COVID virus, and is there perhaps people behind this? Is it government based? Is it science based? Is it just a virus, or is there something more? He runs a website called The Conspiracy Farm with a colleague of his, and he does a lot of work in that area now. And I ran across him on Twitter, and I liked a couple things that he had to say. And although I'm very much into people's recovery, I also think that the mainstream media is not giving us the full story. And I'm sorry if you believe the mainstream media is giving us the full story. All I can gently say to you is I think you have your head in the sand at least a little bit, because there are just facts that aren't out there. That doesn't mean that I'm saying that, the world is doom and gloom, but I don't think that we know everything there is to know about how this virus came to be and how long it's going to be here and all sorts of other interesting things. Anyway, that brings me to the protector. The protector is the person who's going to mother or father the people around them. The protector is the person who's going to basically, if there's someone in crisis and triage mode, emotionally speaking or physically speaking or whatever, they're going to be the ones that are bouncing ideas forward, bringing ideas forward and saying, let's fix this. These are the folks who are going to be creating action plans for those who are dealing with depression or teenagers who, I dealt with a client yesterday. Her almost 18-year-old daughter is devastated because she can't go to prom, she can't go to graduation. She's been looking forward to this all year, and obviously with school shut down, it's not going to happen now. And imagine the emotional impact that you've worked 4 years for something, and now it's taken away from you, circumstances out of your control. And she's thinking, do I even apply to college? Do I even, is this going to affect the college starting season of 2020? And so there's a lot of that. The protectors are also people who are going to be likely to say, hey, you're going over the line. These are folks who might break, and I'm not encouraging this, but break some quarantine level rules and go and check on other people and make sure they're doing okay. The wellness checks that the first responders can't do because they're out there on the front lines and dealing with, the people that are passing away and the people that are needing to be taken to hospitals and medical facilities and all that, and they can't do what they would normally do in terms of wellness checks. These are the people that might check in with nursing homes or homes for the disabled group homes and like that. These are people who might check in with making sure that kids are okay, especially kids that are normally in daycare and now they're with their parents, but the parents have to work. The protectors group of people are the ones that are going to guard those who are considered lesser than or vulnerable in our society and make sure they're okay. The next group of people, and I kind of fall sort of in this group, and it's the sage. The sage are the people who are going to have opinions about this stuff. Some of it's going to be mainstream, some of it's not going to be mainstream. Some of it's going to make sense. A lot of it's going to just be very emotionally driven. These are folks that are going to want to talk about solutions. They're not going to want to talk about the death numbers. They're going to want to talk about, okay, how do we get this better? They're going to want to know what's happening in the local community, what's happening down the street, what's happening at their local churches, what kind of resources are available for people who, don't have access to basic things. What if our neighbor can't pay their light bill? What if our neighbor can't pay their heat bill? What if our neighbor can't afford food for themselves or their children? The sages are going to be the problem solvers of the group. They're going to be the ones who are mobilizing to other folks to take action. They're going to be very measured in their speech. They're not going to be very emotional about it. It's going to be very matter of fact, very blunt, very direct. And these folks are going to be, let's fix this now. Let's get something done. These are going to be the catalytic starters. These are going to be the people who are going to go around in the small neighborhood to make sure that trash is being picked up and basic things. These are the people that are going to ask questions about what they see on the media a lot, and they're going to be they might be tweeting online, they might be writing emails, they might be doing different things because what's happening doesn't make sense to them. It's illogical what's going on in our world to them, and so they're going to be kind of expecting political leaders and doctors and medical professionals and everybody to be doing a bit more. They're going to be very measured with their speech. They're not going to speak often. When they speak, they're there to kind of elevate your consciousness and your awareness of what's going on. And then the most common thing we're going to see is the return of what I call, in street terms, ride or die, right? The friends that you knew in a crisis, when the chips are down, they're going to be there for you. Now, what you're going to see, and I've already seen a lot of this, if they're former romantic partners, you'll see people declaring love and admiration for you, even if there's been several months in between contacts. You'll see best friends that are across the country calling and reaching out. You'll see friends who maybe have been a little busy, preoccupied with other things, who are there and just saying, hey, we've got to mend our relationship or plan for the future to do things together. These are the folks that you knew you could count on to tell a secret to. These are the folks that you can be completely open and honest with about your frustrations, about your feelings of either listlessness or agitation. These are the folks that will be there for you no matter what. And these are the folks that really we kind of lean on. We're going to see all types of these personalities. There's a couple others. Obviously, and I don't want to spend a lot of time on it, but you're going to see the doom and gloomers. I've seen a bunch of those. I've seen people coming up with religious prophecies as to why this is happening. I've seen people come up with conspiracy theories as to why this is happening. I've seen people come up with the aliens have sent. I actually heard somebody on alternative news networks. The aliens have sent the C-19 virus and all this other stuff. And just on a personal level, I am a person, and just so you understand, for those that aren't really familiar with my work in broadcasting, I take kind of the George Noory from Coast to Coast approach to broadcasting, and that is every opinion has value, and the value it's given is the freedom to express it. I don't have to agree with it in order to put a highlight or spotlight on it. And I try to keep my personal opinions out of the interviews that I do, out of the the pieces that I do and that sort of thing. I will state them, but I don't believe that anyone has all the answers. If you believe that one person, be they political, be they medical, be they legal, be they spiritual, whatever, has all the answers, I ask you to reconsider your position, because that kind of thinking leads to group think mentality and leads to cultic behavior and leads to all sorts of danger, and it's not good. Once again, this has been Scott Golden with Golden Opportunities Coaching. And one other thing I wanted to say before we leave, and obviously like, subscribe, comment below. What type of personalities are you seeing? What personality traits have come out in those that you love? And also, if you are a new client to Golden Opportunities, we're going to be doing the instead of social distancing sale, we're going to be doing a social connection sale. What that means is if you need services during this time, whether it's to cope with your emotions, whether it's to redo your resume, whether it's to deal with time management or just overwhelm, we're going to be doing a flat rate for new clients at $50. We do have scholarships available for people that are in severe need and can't afford that rate, but we're going to be running that through the time when people get back to work. I think now more than ever, emotional, mental, and spiritual wellness, holistic wellness, is the most important thing on the planet. If you're only dealing with the physical, I think that you're setting yourself up for traumatic brain remapping that can take months or years to reevaluate. And what I mean by that is I've already talked to people who before this were very confident, were very competent, were very go-getter and leadership-minded, and they are petrified now to leave their house. They are petrified to go back to work. They're petrified to send their children to school, all because of the intense nature with which the mainstream media has followed this. I will say, and this is an opinion, I'll put a disclaimer out there, you don't have to agree with me, but if you really hate what I'm about to say, please feel free to go ahead and unsubscribe. The mainstream media has been unconscionably irresponsible with the slanted nature with which they have portrayed this virus. Yes, we need to protect ourselves. Yes, we need to stay home. Yes, it's bad that people are dying, but no, it's not the end of the world. And for folks that have mental and emotional issues, for folks that have anxiety disorders, panic disorders, and things of that nature, I don't know if the media knows what they're doing or not. I really can't answer that. Maybe some do, some don't. Maybe some are just ignorant and they're just doing what they're told. I don't know. But what I do know is I've seen clients of mine that some of whom I've worked with for years have radical personality changes as a result of this, the illness and the things associated with it, and that's not good. It's not good for anybody on the planet, and if it's happening with my small tribe, imagine what it's doing nationwide, worldwide, and so that's a bad thing. Anyway, we will close with keep your feet on the ground, your mind in the moment. Until next time, everybody.